I have come up with four main topics. The first one I'm going to talk about is Intro to Interaction Design. What is interaction design? Many products require users to interact with them. They need to be designed primarily with the users in mind. The products with good interaction design will generally be easy and enjoyable to use. Interaction design is how the user are going to interact with the products. Also, it is the creator responsibility to ensure that the user can easily interact with the products smoothly and without any problems. So, what is the main aim in interaction design? One main aim of interaction design is to reduce the negative aspects such as frustration, annoyance of the user experience, while also enhancing the positive ones such as enjoyment and engagement. In essence, it is about developing interactive products that are easy to use, effective to users, and also pleasurable to use from the user perspective. So, what is the heart of interaction design? Designing interactive products to support the way people communicate and interact with products in their everyday life. And also, it is about creating users' experiences that enhance and augment the way people work, communicate, and interact. So, the first step to design usable interactive products is to know how to compare between good and poor design. If you know which one is the good design and which one is the bad design, it can help you to understand what it means for something to be usable or not. Let's take a look at an example of good design. As you can see here, this is a remote that doesn't have too many buttons and the buttons are far from each other and also well placed. The shape of the button are different from each other, so you don't need to look at the remote every time you want to use this. And here is an example of poor design remote. So why is it a poor design remote? You can see that there are a lot of buttons on the remote which are the same size and the same shape. So you might be confused about the buttons, and also there is not a single empty space left on the remote. So the user who used this remote for the first time could have a problem distinguish between each button, and you also have to look at the button every time you want to use this remote. In the design phase, we consider who is going to be using them: kids, teenager, businessmen, entrepreneur, or an elderly. The second considered factor is how are they going to be used: touch, click, or voice recognition. And we also consider where are they going to be used: in an office, in school, travel, or in the forest. So the key question is how do you optimize the user's interactions with a system, environment, or a product? So the next thing we're going to talk about is the must known keyword. These are the must known keywords in interaction design, which are user experience and usability. In detail, user experience is the heart of interaction design. It is about the user pressure and satisfaction on usability of the product. A good interaction design should come up with a quality user experience, which will provide the convenience of usage in detail of the product. An example of user experience such as weight of the products, how easy to use the products, and attractive outlook of the product. The second keyword is usability. Usability refers to ensuring that interactive products are easy to learn, effective to use, and enjoyable from the user perspective. Usability involves optimizing the interaction people have with interactive products to enable them to carry out their activities at work, at school, and in their everyday lives. More especially, usability is broken down into the following goals. The first goal is effectiveness. How good a product is at doing what it is supposed to do. The next goal is efficiency, the way a product supports the users in carrying out their task. And the next one is safety and utility and learnability. And the last one is memorability. Now let's see some principle. The first one is visibility. The more visible functions are, the more likely it is that the users will be able to know what to do next. Feedback. Sending back information about what action has been done, allowing the person to continue with the activity. Constant. Determining ways of restricting the kinds of user interaction that can take place at a given moment. Consistency. Designing interfaces to have similar operations and use similar elements for achieving similar tasks. Affordance. An attribute of an object that allows people to know how to use it. Now let's move on to the next topic. How to improve interaction design. This topic is going to be about approach and method that could use to improve interaction design process. We are going to using user-centered approach method to improve our interaction design process. The best way to make sure that the development continues to take users' activity into account is to involve real users throughout the development. In this way, developers can better understand user goals, leading to a more appropriate and usable product. User-centered approach is to take the user's thoughts and experience into account while developing the design. So by this method, the developers can ensure that the users are getting what they want. These are the three principles that led to a user-centered approach. Early focus on users and tasks. First, understanding who the user will be directly studying their cognitive, behavioral, anthropomorphic, and attitudinal characteristics. Empirical measurement. The reactions and performance of intended users to print scenarios. Users interact with simulations and prototypes. Performance and reactions are observed, recorded, and analyzed. Interactive design. When problems are found in users' testing, they are fixed and then more tests and observations are carried out to see the effect of the fixes. The second approach to use us improve our interaction design process is understanding cognition. Understand how does the user interact with their product. What is cognition? Cognition is the mental action or process of earning the knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and senses. These are the actions regarding to cognitive physiology: thinking, remembering, learning, decision making, seeing and reading, and the last one is writing and talking. We involve cognition in this topic because it can help us to understand what is multitasking behavior and attention of human. There is a question regarding the multitasking behavior. Is it possible for us to perform multiple tasks without one or more of them being detrimentally affected? It is depend on how much attention does the task need. For example, if you have to cooking while looking at the recipe, it is not that hard to do so because these two tasks are heading to the same goal, which is to cook something. And in this picture here, she running and listening to music at the same time. These two tasks are not requiring a lot of attention, so she can do it without one of them being detrimentally affected. But if you have to talking to someone on the phone while you are diving, this could cause an accident to happen because these two tasks require a lot of attention. It is depend on two factors. The first one is, and the second factor is depend on individual differences. There are heavy multitasker and light multitasker. Heavy multitasker often do multiple tasks at the same time, but they cannot concentrate as good as the light multitasker who usually focus on one task at a time. Another approach that we use in this topic is involving emotional interaction design. Can you feel something odd about this picture? As you can see, the orange peel appear as blue color. It is not normal for orange to have blue-orange peel. The name says it all. It should be orange, not blue. So what this picture shows us is that when something is out of its ordinary form or don't appear as it usually are, we could notice it right away. Let's talk about emotions and the user's experiences. Emotional interaction is concerned with how we feel and react when interacting with technology. Emotional aspects of interaction designs are concerned with how to facilitate certain states or avoid certain. Well designed interfaces can elicit good feelings in people. Expressive interfaces. The design of aesthetically pleasing interfaces has been concerned to interaction design. Interface can result in more engaging and enjoyable experiences. The combined style of an interface can influence its emotional impact, such as shapes, balance, graphical elements, font, and colors.
This diagram is showing the several ways of conveying the status of a system. The first one is dynamic icons or user interface metaphor. By its look, it can let the user know or guess what the application or program is. And the next one is spoken message, which will speaking directly to the user. And the next vibrotactile feedback and wireless sonification, which will indicating action and event of the system. And the last one, animations. This is the most famous one that we use because it can show directly to the user about what the system is doing and how the system working.
Annoying interfaces. Negative emotion, such as anger or disgust, tasks that's supposed to be easily carried out, turn out to be hard. Annoyance and frustration. Microsoft tried to come up with something called friendly agents. This agent aimed to help the users to feel more comfortable to use their products or software, but it turned out the agent caused more annoyance and frustration to the user. The second attempt on friendly agent, the second attempt of friendly agent, his name is Creepy. Microsoft tried to make this friendly agent work, but it doesn't seem to work at all because the second attempt seemed to trying too hard, intrusive and distracting. Then they fail again. On the next topic, various type of user interfaces. Interface. Interaction concern much at efficient and effective user interfaces. How to present information on a screen. How to structure menus to make options easy and to navigate. Designing icons and other graphical elements to be easily recognized. Next is interface type. Some of the interface types are primarily concerned with function, such as to be intelligent, to be adaptive. Some others focus on the interaction style used, such as command, graphical, multimedia. The interface entries are not mutually exclusive, since some products can appear into categories such as smartphone. Smartphone can be considered to have either a mobile or a touch interface.
Now let's talk about the interface evolution. Actually, there are around 20 interface types for now in the present day, but there are typically three main types, which is the first one CLI or command line interface, which is the first generation interface. And next is GUI or the graphical user interface. And the last one or the one that we are stepping into it, which is NUI or natural user interface. Let's see about the detail of each. The first generation, the command line interface. This command-based interface is mean of interacting with a computer where the user issue command to the program only. Everything that user want to do or interact with the computer have to command, and the command have to be correctly. The user must know the syntax of each command so the computer can work. The second gen is the graphical user interface or GUI, which include the WIMP, but let's talk about that later. For the GUI, we still use until today, and we will still keep using it even in the future. The GUI allows the use of icon or other visual indicators to interact with electronic device rather than using only text via the command line. The four main components of this interface is WIMP. The first one, W, Windows, a rectangular area on the screen where the commonly used application run. Second, I, icon, a picture or symbol which represents the software application or hardware device. Third one, M, menu, a list of options from which the user can choose what they require. And the last one, P, the pointer, is used by user to select a desired menu or files. And next, the third one is NUI or Natural User Interface. NUI is one that enables people to interact with the computer in the same way they interact with the physical world, through using their voice, hand, and bodies instead of using a keyboard and a mouse only, or the first gen, the command line. Natural form of interaction such as touch, speech, gesture, handwriting, and vision, what computer scientists call the NUI or Natural User Interface. Let's see some actual example of natural form of interaction. First one, speak to machines or speak to AI so they can recognize you and help you and have a conversation with you. The second one, stroke their surface. You can draw a line or expand them however you want And the next one, gesture at them in the air.
Now I'm going to show you a video from LG company about how scientists predict how future display technology is going to be in the future.
Display which broke away from the limits of form, more freely overcame the hindrances of expression to expand the value of beauty into a realm of creation close to an art. While substituting for familiar functions and emotions, we are continuing to imagine through infinity. A window of communication which allows mutual understanding beyond the visible world. It always leads us to selecting the best by swiftly reacting, even at unexpected moments.
So this is the conclusion of user interface evolution. We begin from the command line interface and then the graphical user interface. We can say that these two we still use it both even in today. But where we actually are in present day, we are here at the middle between the GUI and NUI because we are stepping forward into the natural user interface generation. Because we still cannot invent the technology that can fully to act like a natural interface, but we are nearly and almost finished it. So now we are using the combination between GUI and NUI. And even in the future that the NUI is completely finished, but they still can't 100% to replace the GUI. There are still some tasks that we have to use the GUI and still some tasks that we have to use the command line interface. So these three interface will always be together and use them together even in the future. It is depend on the task and how suitable they are for each situation. Now come back to the main topics. We have finished about what is the interaction design, the several techniques that can help us to improve the interaction design, and the various type of user interface that I have just mentioned. And now we are moving on about the process of interaction design.
In order to make a good interaction product, we should follow the process of interaction design. These are the order: establishing requirements, designing alternatives, prototyping, and evaluating. Let's talk about each process. In order to establishing requirements, we have three gathering techniques to do so: interview, questionnaires, and observation. On to the first gathering technique. The first one we're going to talk about is interview. Interviews are basically conversation with purpose. There are four types of interviews: open-end, unstructured, structure, and semi-structure. On to the next gathering technique, questionnaire. Questionnaire have both open and closed-end question. Questionnaire can reach a larger number of interviewees than normal face-to-face interview. In result, more participants result in more data. Questionnaire must be clearly worded and easy to understand the question. Questionnaire questions and structured interview questions are similar. The last gathering technique, observation. Observation helps designers to understand the user context, task, and goals. In the later phase, Observation is a useful gathering technique at any stage during the production development. The second process on interaction design, designing alternatives. Generating alternatives is a key principle in most design disciplines. Suggesting ideas for meeting in the requirements are conceptual design and concrete design.
For the conceptual design, it is just about the concept of the product, about how it should be and what it should be. It look like the first draft of the design before the concrete design.
Concrete design. Concrete design considers the detail of the product, including the colors, sounds, and what image to use, menu design, and icon design. Concrete design is a physical prototype that the customer or the shareholders can interact with the product.
It is often said that users can tell you what they want or what they really need, but when they see something and get to use it, they soon know what they want or don't want. After we have established some requirements, the next step is to try our design idea through prototyping and let it to user to use so they can tell you what they like or don't like. A prototype is one manifestation of a design that allows stakeholders to interact with it and to explore its suitability. It is limited in that a prototype will usually especially focus on one set of product characteristics and de-emphasize the others. For example, the first one, sketching, devising your own symbol and icon. The second one, prototyping with index cards. It used often when developing websites or applications. Each card represents a screen or one element of the interaction. In user evaluation, the user can step through the card pretending to perform the task while interacting with the cards. The third one, storyboarding, often used in conjunction with scenario or show a series of screen. And the last one, Wizard of Oz. Having a software-based prototype, the user interact with the software as through interacting with the product. In fact, however, a human operator simulates the software's response to the user. Designers must prototype their ideas because prototypes are useful when discussing or evaluating ideas with stakeholders. They are a communication device among team members and an effective way for designers to explore and design their ideas. Evaluators collect information about users or potential users' experience when interact with a prototype, an app, or a computer system. They do this to improve its design. Evaluation focuses on both the usability of the system, such as how easy it is to learn and to use, and on the user experience when interacting with it, such as how satisfying, enjoyable, or motivating the interaction is. The devices like smartphones, such as iPod and iPads, awareness about usability, but many designers still assume that if they can use a product and find it attractive, others will too. The problem with this assumption is that designers may design only for themselves. Evaluation enables them to check that their design is appropriate and acceptable for the wider user population. So this is the main question of evaluation: appropriate and acceptable or not. So this all are the process of interaction design, which begin from establishing requirements, designing alternatives, prototyping, and evaluating.
Conclusion. Interaction design is concerned with designing interactive products to support the way people communicate and interact in their everyday and working lives. The notion of the user experience is central to interaction design. Optimizing the interaction between users and interactive products requires taking into account a number of interdependent factors, such as context of use, identifying and specifying relevant usability and user experience goals can help us lead to the design of a good interactive product. That is all for introduction design summary. Thank you for listening. If you have any question, you can contact us at the contact information below. Thank you.